The rules of cricket confusing those who play the game, those who commentate the game, those who officiate the game, and those who watch the game is a tale that's as old as time, or in fact, if you're going by the correct term, it's as old as the sport of cricket itself, because again, there are just so many rules to the sport that at times it can be a little difficult to keep up with what exactly is happening and what exactly the rule is that governs this particular situation. And we saw yet another instance of it on day 4 of the second test between India and England, when this man right here, Ashwin, thought he had this man right here, Tom Hartley, as his 500th test victim. Everyone was up in celebration. The umpire had given him out, caught behind, when Hartley, going for a reverse sweep, ended up getting glove, or at least appearing to get glove, and giving a simple catch to the keeper KS Bharat. However, a replay, or a review rather, from Hartley would show that he was not out, but then what really caused consternation was what came afterwards, the LBW call. But before we get into that and get into why it is that in all this confusion Hartley was given not out, let's first take a look at the instance itself, and we'll take a look at some screen grabs from the incident, and it starts with this. The shot, as you can see on your screen right now, was a reverse sweep, and as you can see quite clearly from this particular grab, there was no spike when it went past the bat, but as soon as it hits his arm, and that's the part where it hits his left forearm. That part when it hit, that was when the spike arrived. There was a clear gap otherwise between bat or glove and ball, and the only time the spike came was when it hit his left forearm. So far so good. You're thinking, okay, nothing doing, it definitely wasn't catch out, the decision will be overturned. But as is in fact let's say protocol in such circumstances, they had to check for the LBW as well. And this is where things got really interesting, because in the LBW check, as you can see, the original decision was not out, yet the impact of the let's say ball was umpire's call. It hitting the wicket was also umpire's call. What this did was that it ended up leading to a huge eruption from the fans and even from the Indian players, because they thought that, hey, if you've given it out, if it's given not out in this case, or rather it was given out, then it should theoretically be overturned, because the wickets and impact were both umpire's call, and the original umpire's call was out. So far so good, right? However, everyone was left perplexed at the fact that Hartley was then not given out. That's correct. He was given not out, the decision was not overturned, and he's continued to bat on, much to the consternation of the Indian players, who actually went up in a bunch to walk up to umpire to try and clarify what exactly had happened. Well, let me tell you, it's quite simple what in fact had happened. The umpire's call review, or rather the decision for umpire's call, does not come into play for the LBW. Why? Because the umpire's call in this case was for the first thing that was reviewed, which was the caught behind. It was the caught behind that led to, let's say, the umpire giving out. Therefore, when the review is taken for the LBW, the umpire's call is not in any way, shape or form taken into consideration. The only way this could have been overturned, or rather let's say given out by the third umpire, is if all three were reds. If the impact, if the wickets and the pitching were all red. That is the only way this could have been given out. As it stands though, there was only one red, and there were two umpires calls, as you can see on your screen from this screen grab. So therefore, there was never going to be any chance of him being given out. So it might have seemed confusing at that time, but in actuality, the reality of the matter is that it was pretty simple. There was no real case of him being given LBW in this case, simply because it wasn't the call of the umpire in the first place that he be given out for LBW. Yes, the umpire did give him out in between, but it was only for the caught behind. So therefore, the caught behind is the only thing that will matter when it comes to an umpire's call. This right here is the only thing. For this, it didn't count. 3 reds were needed for the decision to be overturned. You didn't get those 3 reds, and that is in fact why Hartley remained on the field. Much to the consternation, I may add, of the Indian fielders, who thought, hey, that's it, he should be given out, right? Well, technically the umpires followed the rules absolutely right here. So there it is. There's another rather complicated cricketing rule for you explained. So if you are checking for a caught behind and then an LBW, the umpire's call that is taken into consideration is for the dismissal that was originally put in play, and the decision that was originally why the review was taken was the caught behind. Therefore, for the leg before, there was no case of umpire's call coming into question. You either needed 3 reds or you were not getting the decision overturned. We hope you found this video informative, and if you did, please don't forget to show your love by liking it, sharing it with your friends, subscribe to the channel as well, and tap that bell icon. Also leave us a comment. What were your thoughts on the entire matter? And don't forget to go ahead also and follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Don't forget to download the AajTak app as well. And last but not least, check out some other videos we posted through the day, and stay tuned. Plenty more coming your way. For now though, from my side, it is goodbye.